The idea with the kid, with Corey, was that maybe they could spin him off. So, I mean, this is my idea. I didn't have this conversation with the studio. I just thought if I leave it open that way and give him that look at the end, that maybe that will be a good thing and create a part 5, 6, 7.
Well, it was an interesting story. What happened with that was they had originally asked me to come back and reprise the role and do the entire sequel. But unfortunately, I was working on Goonies at the time, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it. Working on Goonies with Donner and Spielberg at the time, and we were shooting like 6-day weeks for like 6 months. Like, well, we want to shoot you on this, and we'd love to get, do it, but, if we can't start for another 6 months, we're going to have to find another solution. We got to get this movie out. So I said, well, I'll do whatever I can, but obviously I'm a little tied up. So they said, okay. So what they did is they had me come in and work on a Sunday.
Let's rip this sucker open. We gotta get a look at the main man.
So I'm working 6-day weeks on Goonies, and on my 7th day, I had to shoot Friday Part 5, then go back to Goonies. So I think it was the only time in my career as an actor, just working for SAG, where I actually shot 13 days in a row without a break. And the worst part of it is when I shot the scene for Friday Part 5, they had turned on some, it was supposed to be raining, but of course it wasn't raining. It was the middle of summer and we were out in the valley. And they had no rain machine because it was a small budget. And of course it was a skeleton crew working on the 7th day, right? So what they did is they hooked up a hose to a sprinkler valve in the backyard of whoever's house we were shooting in, which actually happened to be a neighbor of mine. And they set up the sprinkler contraption to the hose and then connected it to one of those big faucets that they use for the rain machines and just, let it pour. So not only am I working on my 7th day before going back into a full another work week, but I'm standing there freezing cold, and there is no Jason there being put into a cemetery plot. It's me standing in my neighbor's backyard, freezing my ass off, going, "Ah!" And they're like, okay, now you're seeing him come out of the grave. Now he's coming after you. Now he's chasing you, and I'm just, oh, okay, yeah, okay, great. Can I get dry now? Thanks, So it wasn't the most pleasurable memory of my career, but it was brief, short and sweet. A lot of people have said to me, well, how did you feel about that guy being you grown up in Part 5? Do you think, and then they had somebody else play me grown up in Part 6. My character kind of went on for years. The way I always say it to the fans and to people is, if I had my druthers, Jason and I have some history. Obviously, my character and him were connected very tightly together. I see it a bit kind of like Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. I think they should do a Friday 2-0, where we kind of skip past the middle ones. Let's say Part 4 happened, and then you could even say Part 5 happened because nothing really was resolved with the character at the end of Part 5. I thought it was a pretty good movie as well. I thought it was very suspenseful, and I liked the fact that Jason wasn't Jason for a change, but it was somebody pretending to be Jason. But the way I would, wish it to be if I could go back and do it again or whatever, is that we would kind of skip over 6, 7, 8, 9 and kind of pick up the plot line right after 5 and have me come back as the character, as Tommy Jarvis, and do it grown up and, have that kind of final confrontation. I think that would be a lot of fun.